everybody, this is Kirk, and I am testing and learning how to push these buttons. Love it. Oh my goodness, I love this. So this is my first time using this webinar platform, and I am pushing buttons on this side. I've been using another platform for so many webinars, and you get to experience me testing this out in a live version, and I get to learn my techie side here. Now, I know you're out there. I know you're out there, and I know you can hear me, right? I know you can hear me. And let's see if you can see me. Let's see, turn. Oh, that's not the right button. Hold on just a second. There you are. Oh, check me out. I'm a little box down in the bottom corner. You see me? Hey, what's up? Hey, it's Kirk. Okay, let me check this out. How I stop the slide presentation. Let me just check this out. Whoa, there I am. Hey, welcome to this crazy awesome training here as we talk about, seriously, we're going to talk about and learn about, being an empath. And maybe you are an empath, maybe you're not an empath. I don't know, but I think you're going to learn a lot here in this experience while we're talking about really my own personal journey of learning that I'm an empath. Never in a million years would I have thought that kind of name would be attached to me, because it's just been a crazy trip for me in my own personal life to figure me out. Now, I figured since you're here, you read an email or you saw it on social media, and you read what I wrote about what I'm going to talk about, and it resonated with you. And it resonated with you in a way that you felt a connection with it. And so in that connection, there's something about you and I that's similar. Because the only story I can tell, the only training I can really do for you that's really going to come from my heart is to be able to share my own personal experience of discovering that I have empath type of experiences. Now, I have some slides that I've created, and this is a new experience for me to be able to click on slides this way. And I'm going to test this a little bit. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. I got a second plan B to be able to show you some things here as we go through this experience, this training. And let me just see what happens here when I click this, if it makes me start all the way over. Okay. All right. Well, let me just learn this. Hang in there with me as we do this, because I've got some incredible information for you that's going to open your eyes and help you understand what you're going through. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen this quote before, but I really subscribe to this in the fact that, you know what? I have got to find out more about myself and what it is that I can transform to, so that I can, as a species, as a human being, can survive in my evolution of life. Because have you noticed the world's changing, right? Of course, we all see that the world's changing, things are adjusting. And we have turned some corners in life that we're not going to turn back. Things are changing. And it has taught me to really dial in on myself and to really understand myself so I can evolve, so that I can change, that I'm responsive to change. Because look, it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And if the world is going to change, can I? If I can't, I'm probably getting myself into a lot of trouble and going to get myself into a mess. I've got to be able to change. And what I think that this changing in the world is indicating to me is, Kirk, grow up. Kirk, mature. Kirk, what are your gifts? What are your talents? Kirk, what can you do to literally step up in your life? Where some people are getting a little freaked out about everything that's going on, and so they're pulling back. For me, it's like, whoa, I got to go. I got to do something new here, because I don't want to get swept up and be left behind when it comes to things changing. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think you want this. I don't think you want that to happen either. And so, as I look at this, it's like I've got to personally develop. I've got to do what I can to be able to improve myself. And you know what lays hidden inside is these gifts. You can call them spiritual gifts. You can call them talents. You can call them, just abilities that you have that sets you apart from other people. It's just like there's just something about you that's just different. But I've got to develop that, not keep it hidden, not think that it's weird, but to be able to develop that and find how can I use this to benefit other people and to help me, really to help me as I move forward. And so as I talk about what we're going to be talking about here about empaths, sometimes empath gets talked about in a way like it's some kind of woo-woo word. It's like it's some kind of like strange thing where it's like, it's like, oh, it's just weird. And you know what? It's weird about people is that if they don't understand something, they usually consider it bad. Have you ever noticed that? If they don't understand something, they tend to say, oh, that's bad. And all it is that they don't even understand what it is. And so we're going to talk about this and becoming an empath. I don't know if it starts when you were a child or if you've developed it along the way, but here's Kirk. There's Kirk, the little guy in the center is Kirk. And in my progress of growing up, I probably had, experiences like you did, all the different growing up things we go through, and we all have our own challenges, our own difficulties, and our own history of what we go through. But no matter what, we develop into this human being. And we all have a past, right? We all have a past. We all have things that have happened to us. But what about the present? What about who am I today? What has my past shaped me to be able to become? Now, it's very interesting because some people can have difficult pasts and it teaches them certain things. And some people can have amazing childhood and it teaches them certain things. So whatever life has dealt you, whatever it's caused you to go through, I think it's time to honor that. What has it taught you, right? What has it inspired you to become? Like this picture right here, I'm on the left, it's my brother next to me, and I'm on the left, and I got my bag and I'm heading off to school. And I struggled in school. It was difficult. It was so hard for me. I didn't understand what the teachers were saying. I failed tests all the time. I just was terrible at taking tests. And maybe you did the same thing, right? We all have our childhood stuff that we go through, but my past shaped me. I struggled in education. I struggled through kindergarten, through elementary school and middle school and high school. I just could not wait till I got out of school so I could quit learning. But now here I am, 51 years old, and I love to learn. I love figuring things out. I'm just a little bit of a late bloomer. Maybe you were that way, and maybe you weren't. But along this way, something that I've discovered is this whole part about being an empath. Now, let me see if I can move me. Can I move that? I think that's a setting. I didn't realize I'd end up covering up one of my own quotes here. I don't know if that covers up on your screen. But this whole thing about empath, I've discovered over the years that I'm sensitive to things. I'm really sensitive to things. Like I can sense things. I care about people. I care about things. And when I talk to people and I listen to people, I find myself feeling what they're feeling. I actually search for it. And maybe it's like I'm a weirdo, but I actually search for how they feel, not just like, wow, I'm really sorry that you feel this way and you've gone through this. It's not sympathy, it's empathy. And when you look up empathy, and you start poking around and looking, for what this means. I really like what it says in the top left corner. It's the capacity to understand or feel what another person is experiencing from within their frame of reference. That's empathy. That is the capacity to place oneself in another's position. Definitions of empathy encompass a broad range of emotional states. But the part there is that it's from within their frame of reference. It's like you get in their world, you get in the emotion. And so this is empathy. And we all know that the world struggles with empathy. We know the world struggles with it, to literally care enough to be able to sense another person's feelings. People say there's a lot of very disconnected and very hard-hearted people who struggle, who can't express empathy. But people like you and I, we have this way about connecting that we're not just from the outside observing what's going on. We actually get in the middle of it, right? And we're in it with the people. So when you look around about empathy, this is like the beginning of stepping into understanding an empath, because empath is a person who has empathy at higher degrees and higher levels. So here, what does it mean to be an empath? The term empath comes from empathy. Well, that makes sense, right? And it's the same terminology, which is the ability to understand the experiences, and feelings of others outside of your own perspective. Like that makes sense. It's like you have empathy, but the empathy becomes something that is a trait or a characteristic of you that you can sense and feel a deeper level of other people. So an empath is not a weirdo. It's not you're not a weirdo. And if you have, as we go through this, if you find that you have empath tendencies and you're having experiences being an empath, you are not a weirdo. You're a person who cares. I don't know about you, but the discovery of this is like, wait, I'm not a weirdo. I'm not a woo-woo person. So an empath is not a woo-woo. You probably don't know what woo-woo means. Woo-woo means indescribable, off the beaten path. And, the world has a tendency to look at empaths as something strange. But the world is the one who is strange because they don't understand empathy, right? And so it's like, wait a second. No, being an empath is a compliment. It's a compliment. It's a higher way of living. Seriously, being an empath is a higher way of living. You not only can express and be in empathy with another person, but you can be there at another level. So it's like, why would people not be striving to exercise empathy so much that they're called an empath? And it's really interesting that the world is they say things like an empath is a weirdo, and people hide their empath tendencies. And it's like, no, it's like we get to open up and express ourselves, because it's like, okay, you go look up dictionary, right? Okay, what's an empath? A person with a paranormal ability to apprehend the mental or emotional state of another individual. Maybe the word paranormal kind of freaks people out because then they think it's some kind of weird psychotic thing. But paranormal is like, it's beyond other people's level of skill. It's like it's extra, right? It's like beyond. So do we walk around saying, I have a paranormal way of feeling people's emotions? I don't know. I think we're all at levels and varying degrees. So look right in the center of the screen. Empathy is the ability most humans have. Because this is the question, are all humans empaths? Empathy is the ability most humans have to understand the way someone else is feeling. Unless you're a psychopath, narcissist, or a sociopath, you will have the ability to feel empathy for others on some level. People very high up on the scale are known as empaths, and they take it to the next level. So it's like empathy to the next level. Now, you could get way high on the scale and be like, whoa, you're way up there. And let me just show you what that means. Let me show you what that means. So, oh, wait, that's in 2 screens from now. Let me cover this part. So what does it mean to be an empath? The term empath comes from empathy, which is the ability to understand experiences and feelings of others outside your own perspective. What are the characteristics? Look right in the middle of the screen. Empaths are highly attuned to other people's moods, good and bad. Like an empath can sense a person's mood, right? Not just see it, not just notice it, but you can really, you're highly attuned to it. They feel everything. Empaths feel everything, sometimes to an extreme. They take on negativity such as anger and anxiety, which can be exhausting for them. If they're around peace and love, though their bodies take this, they flourish on it. Now, down in the bottom left, is it rare to be an empath? It is a rare gift, which makes them what they are, empaths. They sense the feelings of others along as their own, which makes them great listeners and trouble solvers. Empaths have one rare trait that makes them even more powerful. These people are experts in human psychology. Does that mean that you took a psychology class and now you're an expert? No. It means you understand psychology because you get into people's feelings and their thoughts and how it functions. Now, if this is resonating with you, or maybe you're just on this webinar to go, oh, what's this all about? I'm just really curious. Being an empath has got to be like the coolest thing ever on the planet. I mean, seriously, for me, it's the coolest thing ever, as I've discovered that I am one. I am one, and that I go that far and that high of level to be sensitive to people's feelings. But I got to tell you, there's some tough parts about this. And that's what we're talking about today, is the tough, difficult things that you face as an empath. But we're talking about the definitions right now, right? So what is an empath personality type? So let's just walk through this, couple more screens like this, and then I'm going to start doing some deeper training for you. So empaths are deeply sensitive individuals. We got that, right? They easily take on the emotions of others. I'm in the top square, right? You're following along. They easily take on the emotions of others as their own. You see, when you're an empath and you don't know it, you take on other people's pain and you don't know it. And so you're always tired, you're always exhausted, you're always overwhelmed, and you have no idea why. And you're grumpy and you're irritable and you're just bugged and bothered. And you don't know why. Well, you're an empath and you're taking on other people's stuff. So if you ever felt like your personality almost continually attracts those who need guidance and help, you may be an empath. Now, here's the question in the middle. Are empaths born or made? Right? Well, you can become an empath through a focus on empathy, and you practice empathetic ways towards people, you will develop those attributes of an empath. Or you can be born an empath because of your sensitivity to those things around you. Now, do empaths ever get angry? Does that ever happen? Of all the emotions, now we're in the bottom part, right? Of all the emotions the empath experience, the most powerful and potentially destructive is the feeling is anger. If an empath slips into anger, it is massively destructive. Very destructive for them. I know this personally. Or if there's somebody you love and they're in anger, it's as destructive. Anger can be destructive to everyone, but for an empath, it is especially potent. This only fuels the anger that the empath is feeling and increases the stress and anxiety. If an empath feels anger in somebody else, or if they have anger deep inside them, of their own, they're constantly anxious. Their senses are overwhelmed and they can't sense and feel. And that's freaky. As an empath, I know that if there's anger in the air, it's like my system just wants to shut down. Like I'm done. I'm just out of there. Okay, here's a couple other parts here. What is a super empath? Whoa, right? Check this out. There is a percentage of people who are empaths who are born with a rare condition, and this is so crazy, that if they see somebody touching somebody else, they can feel it on their own skin. What? Whoa, that's intense, right? They actually can feel it. They can feel it. They can actually, it's on their skin. Now, I'm going to tell you something really crazy that I have not told very many people. And you're probably going to think I'm weird with this, but I totally get that. Now, am I in that spot? Am I like that all the time? No, I'm not like that. There was this one day we were driving home from visiting my parents. It was a long drive coming home. The whole family was asleep. And I was driving and I looked in the rear view mirror and I saw one of my kids. Now, this is a long time ago. One of my kids was sitting in their car seat, right? And they had a onesie on. You know what a onesie is? You know how it comes clear down to your wrists and your ankles? It's just, those pajamas that are a big onesie. And I was tired. I was kind of tired and driving. And I was like, I got to entertain myself, right? And so I'm looking in the rearview mirror and I thought to myself, I wonder what it would feel like to wear that onesie. It seems like a very innocent question, right? I wonder what it'd feel like to wear that onesie. And I was focused on it going, well, I wonder what that'd feel like with that little band around my wrist. And I could see that the onesie was kind of bunched up underneath the seatbelt on their car seat. And I was like, I wonder if that's uncomfortable. And I was wondering how my son felt in that onesie. Like I was really focused on it. I was really focused on it. And as I'm driving down the road, I'm not kidding. You're probably going to think I'm a weirdo, but just hear me on this. I'm not kidding. I'm driving down the road and this moment happened that I felt like I was wearing a onesie driving down the road. And in my mind's eye, for a split second, I saw the onesie on me as I was driving. Oh my goodness. It was like, what just happened? But I felt the bands on my wrist and I felt the bunched up part underneath the seatbelt. And it didn't scare me. It actually opened my mind to like, wow. And back then I didn't know what an empath was, right? I just had this really crazy and cool experience. And I told my wife about it later. And she's like, well, that's really trippy. That's really cool. And I just, just kind of like put it in the back of my mind, like that was different. But the cool part about being an empath is you can feel what other people are going through and you can pick up on their thoughts depending on whatever level you're at. If you're at a high level, you can read people's thoughts. And I think that's what freaks people out is you can read people's thoughts, right? But wait until I show you how this works. And it's going to make sense that it's possible. So there's cool parts, there's weird parts, and then there's some difficulty. Like, can an empath get shut down? Yeah. When things are, when the atmosphere, the environment is too intense, it's like it's 10, 20 times as worse for my senses. Like I can't handle loud groups of people for too long, or my system just shuts down. Or like what it says in the middle of the screen, fake people or people that are, they have weird agendas. Like it just don't want to be around it. Or super negative people, unless I'm ready for it, super difficult. Now, look at the bottom there. Toxic empathy is when you over-identify with someone else's feelings, when it's too much. And you can take on people's feelings, and you can't tell the difference between your feelings and their feelings. Whoa. And if that's one person or two people or three people, usually what happens is I meet people who feel a mixed emotions inside of them and they can't manage those emotions. If you find yourself in particular emotional states and you can't manage that emotion. You can't let it go. You can't minimize it. You can't control it. There's a really good chance you picked up that emotion from somebody else and it's not even yours. And you lack the training of how to differentiate yourself, your emotions from other people's emotions. That's taken me a while to figure out, of how to differentiate Kirk's emotions and somebody else's emotions, because you can overdo it really easy when you're trying to tune into somebody and understand them. And so for you, if you ever have that happen to you where you over-identify, you know what it feels like. And you see what it says in the rest of that bottom square right there, is that it leaves you feeling drained. And it just makes you feel like you can't even take care of yourself because you're trying to manage somebody else's life, right? So that's where I find that people are empaths, is because they're overwhelmed a lot. And I start asking questions, and they start to realize that they soak up or take on other people's emotions. Wow. You see, usually what happens is I meet somebody and I hear their troubles and I hear their struggles. And what we find out is they're actually an empath and they didn't know it and they don't know how to manage it. And they've literally been struggling emotionally, financially, and struggling in relationships. Money, their relationships, and their own personal value is just like shredded because they can't find their own identity. Now, over the years, I've been coaching and mentoring for 16 going on 17 years. I've done a lot of coaching with people all over the world, done live events. I've done over 6,000 presentations. I've done a lot of mentoring, a lot of coaching. I've met a lot of people. So I've been on a journey of my own, and I've met a lot of people, and I've been able to talk to a lot of people and help them discover that they're an empath. And then when they find out, it's like, well, what do I do? And then they don't know techniques on how to govern this, how to use this unique ability to be sensitive to people and actually it be a good thing in their life. I would have to say there's a higher percentage of people that I meet who has seen this gift or talent or ability as a curse more than a gift, because they don't know how to manage it and they don't know who to talk to. They don't know who to talk to. They don't know where to go with this. And so that's why I'm starting this in literally talking directly to empaths. Like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the technical side. Let's talk about how your mind works and how to govern this and how it's all working so that you can have a chance to turn this from something you've been struggling with to something that can seriously, seriously bless your life and bless the lives of the people you're around. But if it's unmanaged and you're unaware of how it works, it can be brutal. It can literally almost destroy you. Seriously. And so as we go through this and we talk about this, I want to first just like lay this out here. You might kind of struggle with some of the things I'm going to say because it's going to be new, but just hang in there. It's going to make sense. So let me just show you what this looks like. All right, here we go. Okay, so what's going on? Well, as an empath, you are able to pick up on information. Every person has information. And as people are living, as we go through our day, we as human beings don't realize we are giving off a signal. Like, there literally is a signal. There's a wave of information coming from our bodies. And that information that comes from us can be in the form of language, our behavior, our mood, the emotional state that we're in, our thoughts, and our experiences that we've had in our life. All of this information, it is assumed that it stays underneath our skin. The common person believes that all of their thoughts, their emotions, their past, their history, their mood, their behavior, everything all stays underneath their skin. And the common person also believes that the only time information comes out of their body is if they talk, like out their mouth. So a common person believes if they keep their mouth shut, nobody knows how they're doing. Like they think that they can hide. They think that they can hide. And and so the common person, they think they can hide. They think nobody knows what's going on. And as long as they don't talk about it, nobody knows. And so that's where a really big misconception happens, is that we're not taught as children that what we think, what we feel goes beyond our skin. It comes out of our skin. It leaves our body, it leaves our skin, and it goes out from our body, and it travels. Those vibrations, those messages, that information travels through the air to everyone all the time. Now, this is one of the reasons why people are a little leery of empaths, is because empaths can tune into this information, and people really like to believe that they can hide. They like to be able to hide their thoughts, hide their feelings, and just go around thinking, well, I can be whoever I want to be underneath my skin, and then I'll be a different person on the outside of my skin. That's what the common person believes. But the truth is, information leaves your body every second or every millisecond of your entire life. Information is radiating out from you. Now, you hear people who can read body language. Oh, and then that freaks people out. Oh, you can read body language. And people freak out. And they're just like, oh no, you can read my body language. And they're so nervous that they're going to be found out. Because they think they're so good at hiding. Empaths are natural body language readers. We don't have to read body language to understand how a person is. That's just a side piece. That's like an extra. Empaths go beyond the body language, but we're very natural at being able to read body language. We pick up on the signals, and we can pick up on the messages very quickly. Very quickly. So do I know how to read body language? I do. Is it because I studied body language? No. It's because I tune in to people to understand them. And that comes from being in levels of empathy. People who are empathetic or they are in their high levels of empathy also will develop the ability to read body language, because it's a form of communication. It's a form of communication. So if I go back to these are all communication levels. Language is a communication, not just what a person says, but how they say it. And then also what they don't say is a form of communication. Behavior is a form of communication. Mood is a form of communication. Emotions is a form of communication. It tells about the person. Whatever emotion a person is in tells information. And then people's thoughts. Your thoughts don't just stay inside your brain. Your thoughts radiate out from your head. It goes beyond the flesh. It goes beyond the bones. But the common person wants to still believe that whatever goes on inside their mind, nobody knows. And so that's their own little private belief. But the truth is, Your thoughts go beyond your head. You're beyond your skull. You can't stop your thoughts from leaving your skull. And I'm sorry to wake you up to this, but you actually can't hide. You can't hide. You can deceive people. You can deceive them the best that you can, and you can distract people and deceive people. But can I just say something? I believe what's happening in the world right now is calling forth the empaths of the world, because we are natural lie detectors. We can sense and see a lie from 100 miles away. And I really believe what's going on in the world is calling the empaths to say, hey, can you guys step it up? We need some truth tellers. We need some people to call out what's true, what's not true. And empaths are rising up. They're starting to open up. They're starting to go, wait a minute, can I do this? Am I this way? And so we can detect information. Now, interpretation of the information is another skill. Just because you can sense the information may not mean you can interpret it correctly. And that comes with practice to be able to interpret the information. But you and others and your neighbor, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, everybody, information leaves their body. Now, empaths can pick up on this information. And because you can pick up on this information, you can learn about a person really fast. Their intentions, how they think, how they feel, what are they doing? You can pick up on what they're hiding. It's like, well, why would you want to know that information? Well, what if you were going to help this person? Maybe it's your friend. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's a brother or sister, and you're trying to help them. If you can understand what's going on, if you can pick up on the information, what's going on underneath the skin, you can have an advantage in that experience of helping them because they don't know what's going on underneath their skin. They don't know. But if you know, you can help them. Now, did you just hear that? Because could you be an empath and take advantage of people? You could. You really could. You could take advantage of people. You could know them and you could manipulate them. Are there empaths who manipulate people? Yes. They manipulate people and they use this as an advantage to get what they want. And it's like, well, that's not good. Well, you and I both know that anything that is good can also be turned to be something bad. So this is not a training on how to be a bad empath. This is about how to discover your side about what you can do to be able to help people. Like, for example, I'm a coach. I'm a life coach. I'm a mentor. I'm a presenter. And I gravitate towards helping people solve their problems. And the reason why I'm really good at helping people solve their problems is because I can sense what's going on inside their head, inside their life, and inside their emotions. And I can help people sort out what's going on in their life and help them find the glitches. Because people struggle trying to look inside themselves. They just weren't trained how to do that. And so that's where an empath is super valuable, because they can look into you and help you understand what's going on. And that's my forte, is I help people understand what's happening to them and what are they doing to cause these things to happen. And then they can make changes. So this information coming off of you, that might be like freaky to you, or it might be buggy to you. Like, oh no, I got to wear a lead suit. It's like, I got to wear a lead suit. I got to wear aluminum foil all over me so my signal can't leave. So just so you know, a lead suit and aluminum foil, it won't stop it. You as a human being give off communication every single day. Every day it's happening. And it's okay, unless you are trying to cover up something, or trying to hide something. And you might be thinking, I don't want any friends that are empaths. But if you're somebody who wants your life to get better, Get around empaths. They can help you so much. I love coaching and I love mentoring because I can help people change their lives. I can help them. And they just love it because things that they've struggled with for 10, 20 years, I can help them solve. I can help them figure those things out. And so I don't know if you've ever thought about being a coach or being a life coach or a mentor or somebody who's a problem solver for others. Because if people come to you for advice, it's showing you have tendencies or you have indicators that you have empath abilities. If people keep coming to you, and you might be low on the scale or you might be high on the scale, but you have it at some degree. And what if you improved this? What if you actually harnessed this and actually focused on it? What if you got training, right, on how to be an empath and how to make this so that it can be beneficial to other people's lives? Wow, what could happen there, right? Super cool. Okay, so we got the whole information thing. Now, look at this diagram. What if there's a bunch of people? Can you pick up on messages from a bunch of people? Yeah. The sense of what's going on with people is on. Now I don't know if this person is on this webinar today, but there's an extended family member who we were on a trip when we were going to leave on a trip one time as a big family and big family group. And this one family member said, "Okay, Kirk, you need to turn off your body language reading skills while we're on this vacation." I said, "Oh yeah, I got that. I got it turned off." No, are you kidding? It's on all the time. So as an empath, that's the part that is tough, is because it's always on. I walk into a grocery store. It's like I got to focus on go get the apples, because I start looking around and I want to go help people because I see somebody and it's like, oh my goodness, they need some help. And I want to go help them. They don't know they need help, but I can sense it. And so going into groups of people, I have to use my mind to manage the information coming in. I got to be able to turn it on and off. And that's taken me quite a while to figure out, okay, what's the techniques of learning how to do this so that I can reduce the amount of input? How to do that? Like when I stand on a stage and I'm in front of 1,000 people, wow, I can feel all 1,000 of them. And it can be super overwhelming and actually can freak out an empath. And empaths can really struggle with public speaking. Empaths, public speaking is like a nightmare to them, not because they're in front of people and what they're going to say. It's because they don't know how to manage all those messages coming from all those people. And so they feel overwhelmed when they get in front of a group of people. It's not that they fear the people, they just can't manage the incoming information. And so me as a presenter, as a public speaker, I had to learn how to govern this so that I could be in front of large groups of people and to be able to selectively turn up the empath ability on certain individuals when they go to ask a question. So to be able to gauge it, to be able to manage it so that it doesn't overwhelm me. And so I've had to learn how to do this so that it's like a survival technique. So I can go into public, so I can be around groups of people, so I can be a public speaker. I can do webinars. Like right now, for example, if I got quiet, I could start to think about each one of you. I can't see your face and I don't know your name, but I can sense that you're there and you're listening. So it's a great skill because it can help me understand a person really fast, even if I can't see their face, even if I don't know your past. But if you were to get on and we were gonna have a dialogue and I was gonna answer a question for you, I could tune into you and I could hear and notice and feel what's going on. Like yesterday, I held some mentoring appointments yesterday. I love mentoring because I can dive into people's lives and I can feel what they feel. I can sense, I can see their challenges. And then we can start to figure out how to adjust and mend and repair those challenges in their life because I can get in their life with them. But again, if you can't manage this, it feels like a curse. So yes, with a group of people, you can learn how to have a higher level of capacity to be around more people and not be overwhelmed. And you could actually selectively choose where your focus is at and literally hyper focus on somebody, even if you're in a group. Like I can be in a group of people and pick a person out behind me and tune into them. I don't have to look at them. I can just select them in my mind and then turn on my listening skills so I can listen to their information. Creepy, huh? But it's so powerful because being an empath, you literally are an individual that can help people. And you just have this desire to help, but it might be getting all smothered because you feel weird and you feel like stuff's kind of, not functioning well on the inside of you. And that's why I'm doing this training. That's why I'm going to be doing more trainings about this. Okay, so what happens? Well, inside your head as an empath, when the information starts to add up, it's like it's filling up a bottle or filling up a cup. And when you go to the sink, to fill up a cup, there comes a point where the cup is full. And then when the cup is full, it spills over. And that spillover could be called overwhelmed. So as an empath, you experience overwhelmed really fast because your sensitivity doesn't mean you're weak. Sensitivity means a lot of incoming information. An empath can sense their neighbors, their neighborhood. And you as an empath could be feeling the challenges, the troubles from the neighbors. And so all that incoming information fills up your cup. And then by 8:30 in the morning, you're already overwhelmed. And you don't know why. Because all your neighborhood information is coming inside you. And if you're thinking about challenges in the world, you get overwhelmed within 10 minutes of being awake because all of the people's challenges in the world come in, fill you up, and it's already spilling over. And so empaths struggle with managing that overwhelm line because it happens so fast. And when you get overwhelmed, you get tired. And when you get overwhelmed, you get edgy. And so empaths can be edgy and easily irritable. It's because your cup is full. It's not that you're a bad person. You're probably wondering what's wrong with you. It's because your cup gets full so fast because there's no governing of how that's coming in and how much of that's coming in. But to be aware that when you wake up in the morning, your empath abilities are on and all your neighborhood, all the people around you, however far you're reaching, just like I showed in this diagram, how far you're reaching, you have incoming information and it can fill up you to the point it gets to the top of your head. It literally fills up your body with information. I'm not kidding. It literally fills up your body. It fills up around you and it fills up and then it spills. And that feeling of it spilling causes you to feel irresponsible. And out of nowhere, you feel irresponsible. You feel like you're doing everything wrong. You feel like everything you choose to do is wrong, and this is wrong, and that's wrong, and you just constantly feel like you're wrong. And what you're actually sensing is the spillover, and you're not managing the spillover because it's people's lives. It's people's lives that are spilling out of you, and you feel irresponsible. And you feel responsible for these people's lives, and it feels like they're just splashing on the floor. And so an empath can slip into depression really easy because you feel responsible and you feel irresponsible. You feel responsible for people's lives, but it feels irresponsible and you can't figure out what's wrong. It's because you have so much coming in and spilling over, and you can sense that it's just spilling all over the place. And that doesn't feel responsible, that people's lives are just splashing on the floor. All this information, and you don't know what to do with it. You can slip into a level and different types of depression really fast. I met an individual one time who said that they were depressed all the time. And I said, hold on a second. I said, let's just leave that word depressed on the side. Are you overwhelmed? And they're like, oh, all the time. How soon does it start? Well, right when I wake up. And I said, are you on the inside? Do you feel like it's just you, or is there a bunch of other stuff? And we walk through the questions and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm an empath. It's like, you didn't know that? And they're like, no, I didn't know I was an empath. And then I draw a picture and I show them how it works and a spillover. And they're like, that's what I feel like every day. I go, yeah, you need training. You need training on how to manage this so you don't go crazy. Because it's an amazing gift. It's an amazing ability to serve people. But when it's not managed, your life can feel out of control. I really hope this is making sense. Really hope this is making sense. Okay, here's something to consider. There's 3 different parts of your life. And the first part is the opinion you have of yourself. And you see that orange line? That's a gauge. And if your opinion of yourself is down, well, then that second part of your life, which is your performance, that line is going to match your opinion of yourself line. So if your opinion of yourself is down, your performance is going to be down. And then that third line is your results from your performance. That will also match your performance and match your opinion of yourself. So in these 3 different categories of you in your life, of opinion of self, performance, and results, here's where you need to know about this as an empath. Other people have opinions of themselves, right? So let's say another person has an opinion of themselves. As an empath, you feel their opinion of them that they have about themselves. And let's say that person has a very low opinion about themselves. As an empath, you can feel that. You can even pick up on the thoughts that they have that drop that feeling. So not only do you have, as an empath, you have your own opinion about yourself, but you sense other people's opinions about themselves. And because you can feel that, that feeling gets meshed in with your own feeling. And now you feel down twice as strong. So as an empath, you could be doing good, and then you're around somebody who has a bad opinion of themselves, and out of nowhere, your opinion of yourself drops. And when your opinion of yourself drops because of you or other people, well, then your performance is going to come down. And then your results are going to come down. And this is why empaths who are unconscious and unaware of how this works, that's why you struggle with time management, money management, and managing your home. Empaths tend to have messy offices. Empaths tend to have messy houses. And the closets are messy. There's just a mess. There's always a stack. There's always something stacked up. Because of your low opinion of yourself, you have low performance, and so you have low results. And so things are in a state of chaos in your life all the time. Now, I'm not saying everybody who has a messy house is an empath, but I'm talking to you that when your performance drops, you got to check in and go, wait a second, is this because of my thinking, or did I just unconsciously connect to somebody who had low opinions of themselves and I took it on as my own? See, as an empath, you got to pay attention to what was it that caused you to drop. Because it could be you, or it could be that person, or this person, or that person. And you get to pay attention to that and differentiate that you not only are sensing just your own thoughts and feelings and noticing that, but that you get to find out, well, who was it? Was I around somebody and that's why I dropped? And that's a skill to learn. And I'm calling that out for you right now to differentiate. Empaths see that we're all connected. But what happens is if you're in an unhealthy state as an empath, because you're connected to everybody, you never can figure out where you are. And so for me to be able to function and perform well as an empath and do well in my performance and in my results, I have to differentiate, meaning, okay, here's Kirk, here's this person. And so write this down. As an empath, you need to know how you feel so that when somebody else is around you, you know how you feel so you can sense that they are a different feeling. This is where empaths make a really big mistake. They don't tune into themselves because they're always out here. They're always out here trying to, sense and feel everybody else. But at empaths, where they struggle is they lack clarity in their own state of being. They just don't look at themselves because they're always out here serving, helping, sensing other people, and they lose a sense of themselves. And so when you lose that sense of yourself, you lose sensibility. And because of that lack of sensibility, you can't tell if it was their emotions or yours. And that's why your opinion of yourself is down. So empaths struggle with negativity. They struggle sorting out negativity in their life because they don't know where it came from. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it came from. And so when I coach and mentor and somebody who's an empath, and I can pick up on that they're an empath, I have an idea where they're struggling in their life. And now the behind the story is that they're not even conscious of themselves. And when an empath isn't conscious of themselves, their opinion of themselves can drop and go low. Then their performance comes down, and then their results come down. And so they struggle with money. They struggle with time management. They struggle at an excessive level. Because there's other people who everybody else has their own ways of struggling. But empaths, it's like very intense. Very intense. A lot of confusion. They can't figure out who they are separate from somebody else. So to be aware of this, of why it's so important to be able to differentiate and be able to create separate identities of, okay, I can sense this person, that is their information. I can sense this person, that is their information. I can sense me, this is my information. Like you see people as their own bubbles or their own pockets of information. That's something to practice, to sense and then compartmentalize that person's information. That's not just mixed in with everybody else. You're going to go nuts. You're going to go crazy with that because you just won't be able to figure out who you are. Empaths who don't know what's going on, they lose their identity pretty quickly. And they struggle discovering who they are because it's splattered with so many other people's information. They can't find themselves. And so they have an identity crisis like every week. And if they try to like be an entrepreneur, they struggle because it's like they don't know how to represent themselves. They don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to talk about themselves because they don't even know who they are because it's got all these other people all over them and they can't figure out who they are. Wow, right? But it's so true. If you ever work with empaths, or if you're an empath and you've tried to identify yourself, you know how difficult it is. You know how that happens. And so a beginning step for you as an empath is to pay attention to, where am I? How do I feel? What am I thinking? Be conscious of self, which is weird for an empath, because an empath is always out on other people, but be conscious of yourself, again, for the third time, to be able to differentiate yourself from others. If you don't begin that kind of practice, what happens is you get lost really fast. You lose your identity really fast. And you constantly are saying things like, what's wrong with me? I can't figure out who I am. It's so real. It's so real. It's, in a way, it's sad because they could be using that gift. You could be using that gift to serve other people and change their lives, but it just causes confusion inside yourself because you didn't know how that works. Okay, let me go back to where I was on this slide. I hope that makes sense. So if you're an empath and you're struggling with money, it's because you most likely have other people's information mixed with yours, and you are sensing their low opinion of self, which becomes your low opinion of self, which then your performance is low, and then your results are low. So when it's bad, it's bad. As an empath, when you're good, it's good. I mean, it's really good. Okay, so as an empath, I just want to show you this screen. As an empath, I train people on these three very distinct areas of a person's life: imagery, language, and emotion. And the reason why I train people on these three distinct areas of a person's life is because I am helping people get very clear of where they stand with their imagery, with their language, and where their emotions are at. And so as a coach and as a presenter, I'm very intentional about helping people be able to be strong and to be able to know who they are. And I point this out for you. So if you've never seen my diagram here, knowing these three parts about you is like what's going on in your head, what's going on in your heart, helps you stay very, very clear and focused on your condition so that you can very deliberately serve other people in their conditions. Super cool. Now, what can happen? Negativity can stack up. And if it stacks up, here's the clear version. You can think, you can see, you can talk and communicate, and you can feel. Excuse me. But what happens is with an empath, you can get plugged up with emotions from other people, and then you can't think. You can't see. You can't even communicate clearly with other people, and you can't even figure out your feelings because it's just covered up with a bunch of negativity. And so this is another one of my specialties, is to help people become emotionally balanced so that their natural gifts can be clearly seen and clearly applied to serve other people. So if you've ever felt like this, like the emotions have stacked up inside of you, yeah, it's not just yours, it's a bunch of other people too. And it makes it really tough to run your life when you're plugged up like this. Really, really tough. So how do you get here? To this point right here, I'm going to tell you something that you've heard a million times, and you already know the answer. Journal every day. This is what happens to an empath when they don't journal. This is what happens when an empath does journal. If you don't journal, you can't tell who's who inside you, and you're just going to be a mess. But if you do journal, you can sort out what's going on inside of you. It's a beginning step is to journal. Now, you've heard that how many times? 100, 1,000, 10,000 times over your lifetime, but you know how it resonates with you. But it almost becomes irritating, like, oh, are you serious? Am I hearing this journal thing again? Journaling is a way of sorting out what's going on the inside of you. So if you've created some kind of bad connotation to this and bad connection and bad association with journaling, you get to let go of that so you can be a sane person. Now, of course, there's all different levels of training that I provide, for people who are empaths so that they can harness this skill. But let me just give you the beginning. You got to start somewhere, right? As you journal. Now, what does that mean, though? I'm sorry, I'm clicking back and forth between this, but you see all that stuff? See all those like little glitch balls all stacked up, and they got the negative sign inside? Those are all negative pockets of information. Negative pockets of information. If you don't have an outlet for your negative stuff that gets in you, because you're a walking sponge. You're a walking sponge. Everywhere you go, you're soaking it up because you care about people being better, and you soak up other people's pain. You soak up other people's difficulties, and you end up like this at the end of the day. This is what you feel like on the inside. If you don't have an outlet, journaling is an outlet to talk about how you think and how you feel. Now, here's the secret, though, behind journaling: honesty. If an empath hides how they feel, that goes against the moral code of being an empath. Because empaths can see into other people's lives. And if you hide from your own emotions and your thoughts inside of you, it feels really twisted. You feel very out of integrity with yourself. You're going to feel out of integrity. You're going to compound your problem. So for an empath, if I came over to your house today and we're talking about you being an empath and how to improve who you are and be able to start you on the journey of being able to, harness this ability, I would be asking you, okay, are you journaling? And if you're like, no, I haven't done that for a while, I would say, go get your journal right now. You need to journal right now because we got to get you cleared up, or your gift is all distorted. It's all messy. It's messy. And I've been training people for 16, 17 years on emotional management because I know how important it is for me. If I'm emotionally backed up, I can't sense what's going on in people, and then I feel worthless. As an empath, you can feel worthless really quick when your gift is distorted because it's all plugged up. It's all plugged up with emotions, and you can't use that gift. You quickly feel worthless because that's what you count on. You count on that ability to be able to sense what's going on. And when you lose that ability, it's like you feel like you've lost your soul. You've lost your purpose in life. And so when I meet people who are feeling worthless, I pick up on that signal. I think what's going on is your gift is covered up. Wow. I hope that makes sense. Okay. I hope this makes sense. I stayed up too late making too many slides for this. I'm going to say a lot here, but here we go. Right. Okay. So journaling, you've heard it from me, and you're going to keep hearing it until you finally do it. Get out a pad of paper, get on your computer, get a little journal thing, and express how you feel honestly so you can clear yourself up. So when you journal, Talk about how you feel. That's your sense ability. Talk about how you feel. And express that on paper so that you can have an outlet. Without an outlet, you're going to get full of negativity because you as an empath are literally unconsciously soaking and absorbing other people's pains, difficulties, negativity, and it fills you up very quick. So manage that with a simple outlet as journaling. Cool, huh? Okay, let's talk directly about money. Let's talk about this. So here's some points here that I'm just going to leave this on the screen here for a moment. So I know you can read, but I'm just going to touch on these. Empaths are all about giving. That's what they are. They're all about giving attention, giving of suggestions, giving of support. And so empaths are very, very, very wired to give. If an empath senses that somebody else is giving something that's difficult for them to give, the empath doesn't want it. The empath, you don't want it. It's like it's just like, oh, no, 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 no. You just like tell people, no, 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 it's okay. Because you'll like give until you're completely exhausted. And then when somebody tries to go to give back, you're like, no, don't. And it actually makes you mad because it's like you don't want to take from anybody's life. And so this makes it really difficult when it comes to owning your own business as an empath, because it's like people want to pay you for what you do, but you take it like you literally feel like you're taking from them because now they're going to have less money and they're going to give you that money and they're going to have less. That goes against your moral code as an empath. It's like, no, you're not going to cause people to have less. You want to cause people to feel good and abundant and amazing and fulfilled. And so that's why you cut off the acceptance of money, because you think that person is suffering. You think they're suffering. You think they're going to lack. You think they're going to lose. I seriously, I still remember I met with a husband and wife, and they were thinking about hiring me as their mentor, get some coaching in their life so they can improve where they're at. And they came to the meeting and they had a bag, and it was like a lunch bag. I didn't know I thought it was just their tuna fish sandwich or something. Well, after we talked for, 20, 30 minutes and I answered some of their last questions, the husband reached down and grabbed this lunch bag, a brown lunch bag, and he sat it on the table. And he says, okay, we're ready to sign up with you. And I said, really? I said, you guys came for this? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I go, what's in the bag? Your lunch? And he goes, no, what's in the bag is $2,500. $2,500. I was like, wow, that's the full tuition. And they're like, yeah, we're ready. And then as I reached up to grab the bag to move it to my bag, so it's not just sitting on the middle of the table, as I was starting to reach for it, the wife says, yeah, and our kids also gave their money too. So our kids are invested in this. Oh, it's like now the whole family is sacrificing. I had got myself to the point where it's like, okay, they're not losing, they're investing. And I'm going to bring goodness to this, these people's lives. I had been doing well, in being able to manage and have people. I was open to receive $2,500 from each person as a mentoring client. And I had taken care of my mind and my emotions that this is a good thing. But now when they added, I have this situation where they're bringing that their kids also put their money in there. I open up the bag And it was a bunch of ones and fives and 20s. And it's like $2,500 of all. And I'm like, wow, the kids really did put their money in the bag. I felt the sense of sacrifice. Like they gave their all for the training that they were going to get. And I felt it. And in the moment of feeling it, it was so overwhelming. I wanted just to push the bag back and say, it's okay. I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. Like seriously, it was so strong because empaths want to do everything for free. Everything's for free. So much that the empath is broke and the empath can't pay their bills and the empath is struggling and the empath has all these things around their house that is broken. They've got great talents. They got great skills. They've got great experience to serve and help people, but they're broke. Because empaths just can't allow somebody else to have that feeling of lose or sacrifice or give their all. And I remember in that moment, I was like, whoa, I'm being tested. I'm being tested. And I had to go, okay, they're going to win. They're going to benefit. They're going to do great. And I had to like get in my head because I was about ready to push that bag across the table. But it's like, wait a second. What if I didn't accept this? And I denied their willingness to sacrifice and commit. But my empath side was like, forget it. We're done. Just keep the money. I'll do it for free. And I was just sitting there wrestling going, but no, this is good. No, this is bad. Oh, as an empath, every level of income, once you start to dial in on how you can serve people, and you start to help people and money starts coming your way, you're going to find that you're going to struggle at the $1,000 level per month, the $2,000 per month, the $3,000 per month. And then you think you got it all figured out. And then now you got 4,000 coming in. And it's like a constant like, oh my gosh, I can't have this happen. And so it's like, you actually have to go through the layers of the increments of money, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. And I've wrestled with that my whole life, wrestled with that. And even before finding out I was an empath and after, I still have to address it and be able to recalibrate my mind, or I will self-sabotage. And I will go back to being broke. I'll go back to being, I can't do things. I don't have the finances. I can't fix things that are broken. I can't free up my time to serve people. So this is why empaths struggle so bad when they're entrepreneurs. If they don't know they're an empath and if you don't know you're an empath and you're trying to run a business, you are struggling with money. And you do the same thing with time. You'll give your time away. I'll give away all your time. And you're time broke. You're financially broke. And then you become emotionally broke. And then relationship broke. And you're just broke. And then that's why you feel broken. Because you're broke in so many different places, you feel broken. But it all comes back to this empath part, this tendency of wanting to serve. And you can read what's on here. I'm not going to read all these to you, but it all goes with what I'm saying, is that you have the tendency to give, and nobody can give back to you, not even pay you for what you do. I seriously, I met this woman who was incredibly gifted. Oh, just incredibly gifted. And a chiropractor, incredibly gifted. And I went to an appointment and she, within just seconds, could just sense and feel and analyze my whole body and know what's going on. And I was like, holy cow, how'd you do that? And she's like, well, I'm just really in tune. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. It's amazing what you can do. And I said, you must have a lot of clients. And she got really quiet and she goes, well, no, actually, I don't know what to do because I feel like I'm still charging people too much. And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, yeah, I'm busy all the time, but I'm not making enough money and I'm going to have to close my business. I was like, wait, hold on. She felt like it was bad to charge somebody money for a natural ability that she had. And she called it a gift from God. That's what she called it. She called it a gift, like a spiritual gift, that she could be so in tune and that she could help people so quickly. She felt like, well, since it's so easy for her, that she should charge really small prices. But now she's overwhelmed because she doesn't have any time because she's working with a lot of people, and now she's not making enough money, and so she struggles paying her bills and she doesn't have time. And I said, well, what would happen if you raise your price? And she's like, oh, I can't do that. And I'm like, why? And she goes, I already feel so bad that I'm charging for a gift that I have that I feel like God gave me. And it's like, okay, I know what this feels like. I know what this feels like. I said, but let's talk about this. And I had a moment to have a conversation with her. And the conversation went in the direction of, what if God gave you this ability so you could be financially taken care of? And so you could really help people and maybe even train people on what you're doing. You see, I've met so many people along the way who feel like it's wrong to have people pay them to be able to exercise their gift. Now, I'm probably going to get comments. There's probably going to be some of you that are going to email the office and rag on me for this, but I'm going to say this out loud. People pray for help from their God. They pray to their God for help to pay their bills and to pay the mortgage and to buy groceries and buy new shoes for their son or daughter. People are praying every day for financial help. What if God gave you a gift called being an empath so you could help people solve problems? I mean, when the plumber shows up and they fix your plumbing, do you say, I can't believe you're charging for this? Do you have a fit about the plumber? Do you just like, oh, I can't believe you're doing this? Because they were so gifted and talented and they were so good at their craftsmanship that they could handle your plumbing within a couple hours. Do you have a fit over the plumber? Do you have a fit over the mechanic who's in tune with machinery? Because they have a gift to understand machinery. The plumber has a gift to understand systems. They have different gifts. And they gravitate towards those industries because that's where their gift works the best. Do you complain about the mechanic? Be like, I can't believe you charge for this. It's like we don't. But for some reason, because an empath doesn't have a hammer and a saw and a shop, because it's just us, somewhere it gets twisted that we don't think that this could be something we could help people, and people pay for the time and the effort. And people are praying all the time. And I meet people who are empaths that are broke, and I was there too. And I remember me changing, going, wait a minute, God gave me a gift. If I use this gift, I can be okay. I can take care of myself. And then I could hire people. I could give people jobs. I could reach around the world. I could teach people. I could get equipment and computers so I could do better at this, get a microphone. I could use that money to reach more people. So it's like when I meet empaths that are broke, whoa, I get super passionate about this because they're still in that place. They're still in that place where it's like, no, I can't. And it's like, you haven't been trained. You don't see it correctly. Now, do I hold mentoring appointments that I don't charge people for? Yeah. I mentor my kids. I mentor my friends. I mentor family. And every once in a while, there's somebody that comes along, I get impressed that, well, you know what? I just need to help them. So I don't charge my mom, or my kids or friends or close family members. It's like, no, I don't do that. But I have matured in my view of this, and thank heaven God blessed me with this gift. Thank heaven. I'm so grateful that God blessed me with this gift, because I've been able to help a lot of people. And I can buy groceries and pay my house payment and take care of my utilities and put gas in the car, because God blessed me with this gift. So when I was on my knees praying for help financially, I'll never forget when God said, I already answered this prayer. I was like, what? Yeah, he said, I already answered this prayer. I gave you a gift. Use it. It's like, it's okay. It's like, why would it not be? And I realized I was distorted in my head. I'd made up a false truth. So for all you empaths out there that are struggling financially, you don't have to struggle financially. You have a gift that is really, really important to help people. And people would gladly pay you for your time and attention to help them solve problems. And us as empaths, we're really good at it. We can sense beyond what the normal common person can sense. We can see deeper. We can see more clearly. We can see how things connect. And as we become more healthy empaths, we can serve people at a very, very high level. And that is a massive reward for the person who gets to work with you. But if you're over here on the unhealthy side as an empath and you're still struggling and all that, it makes sense why this would not even be an idea for you. But let me just put a plug in for this. There are many different types of occupations that empaths can be in and do fantastic at. In fact, anything you do that's in using your empath abilities, you're going to be great at. But to use it intentionally, not just as a side thing, but to use it intentionally to help. You can use your empath abilities to understand mechanics and understand technology and understand things that the more you focus on, the more you start to figure it out. But the place that you really do the best at is people. People. You are a people person. And right now, because you feel overwhelmed or you feel discouraged or you feel confused, that can all be sorted through and you can become balanced as an empath. But really, in the world of being a counselor or going into becoming a therapist or to become a leader in youth groups or to be a manager or to be an entrepreneur or to start your own business with a company where you can build a team, all of these things are fantastic. Be a life coach, become a mentor. Those you will do very naturally. Very naturally. You'll do those naturally because it's just your way. It's your way. You are a problem solver. You just may not know how to fully exercise this gift that you have. And as I see other empaths like step up and do well and serving people, then financially, they're able to take care of their financial obligations. And then they're able to hire people or bless people's lives in so many ways. It's beautiful. But we need to wake up that empath side of you, right? We need to wake that up and help you see that it's something that you can do to be able to make a difference. So when it comes to money, this money piece, you are most likely disconnected with money because it's not a human. It's not a human being. And so, yeah, you want money, but you're not wired. When I say wired, I mean your mind is not conditioned that money is important, because really you're trying to take care of yourself and you're trying to help other people, trying to figure all this out. Money's not even in the picture. So what I had to do is I had to write a story on paper about my experience with money, how I want it to be. Like, I lacked the mental programming to connect me and money, because my gift is designed to connect with people and to try to figure out what's going on with me and people and their lives, and everything that's going on is all people. But as an empath, to try to look at money, it's like, it's just a glitch. There's like nothing there. There's this big gap, this big chasm there. There's nothing there. Nothing. It's like, man, I got nothing. Struggle with money. I would push money away. Money wasn't important. If I was broke, it was like, yeah, whatever. But then if they're going to take my house or take my cars, it's like, wait a second, I should figure this out. So a beginning step, really, seriously, a beginning step is to write yourself up a half-page story of how you and money are going to interact. Now, the reason why you write the story is because you get to read the story. Because in our head, there's already stories about life. And so what you're doing is you are writing a money story so that you can read that story every day. This is called a technique. This technique of writing a story, a half page, very descriptive about your relationship with money and how you interact with money, how much money comes into your life, and what you do with this money. What are you going to do with this money? And so this half page, maybe it's a full page, but every day you read that story gets uploaded to your mind. Every time you read it, every day you read it, more of that story gets moved up into your mind. And because of a daily repetition of reading the story, it ingrains those details inside here so you can think that way. You see, empaths, they can literally lack a money story in their head. Like, it's not even there. Because you're so wrapped up with emotions and thoughts and people and sensing and feeling moods and attitudes. Over here, it's like, oh, money? What is that? So you lack that inside your head. So half page to a page, money story, read that every day. It causes day by day, it ingrains it into your mind, meaning you think the same thought each day as you read that. And because you think that thought, you create a new neural pathway that absorbs and takes that new story on. And because you create this neural pathway, it then becomes something that you start to act out and you start to do what's in your story. That's what I did. I remember the first time I crossed the line of $1 million in 1 year. It was like, what? From struggling to $1 million. The first time that happened, to get to the end of the year and it's just like, oh my gosh, I just crossed the $1 million line. Is like, what? Are you serious? I was so excited because the story worked. I was just lacking the information. I lacked the instructions. You see, you'll function very well when you give your mind instructions of how to interact with money. I'm serious. It's where you start. It's not the end, but it's where you start. Because if you don't put in a new story, you're going to keep doing what you've always done. You're going to keep doing that same thing. It's not going to work, no matter how hard you work. Right? Oh, super good. In your money story, talk about how you manage it. Talk about how much you have, how much comes to you every month. And then you read that story every day, right? It's like so good. It's so good. Now, could you do this with other parts of your life? Yeah, maybe fitness isn't your thing. Maybe time isn't your thing. Maybe children just drive you crazy. Wherever you struggle as an empath, that is a place that you write up a story of how you want it to happen. Because if wherever you struggle, you're lacking clear instructions on how to interact with that part. So here's all the categories, right, of life. But now you get to see where you lack, and you can follow the same technique I just taught you to be able to ingrain in your mind a new way of being. It works. Seriously, it works for every person who uses that technique. So as you look at, setting goals, that's the star, or relations, love and forgiveness, that's the heart, money, your relationship with women, with men, with time, you define the relationship by putting it in writing and reading it every day. That's how close you are to changing your life, because you are ingrained to think a different way, to give, and then you lack. And then when something tries to come back to you, you turn it away. And I'm going to all of you God believers, you also do that to God. If you deny a person from giving to you, your mind is also conditioned to deny God from blessing your life. You'll deny it. You'll block it. If you block people, you'll block God. It's the same program in your head. And you can go to debate with me all you want on that, but I'll keep showing you in your life how evidence is so true. You keep looking for a miracle in your life and you can't find them because you've blocked it with your mind. Because if you block people from being able to give back to you or to compensate you, you also block everything else, and that includes God. That's a tough one to swallow, but it's so true. So define the experience, define the relationship in writing. Read that story every day. Now, here's some tips for a better outcome for you as an empath. Look for opportunities to serve others. Consciously tune into others, I'm going to tune into this person. And to be able to search that person to see what you can understand about them. Number 3, learn additional skills and how to use your gift. Don't just hide it. Bring it to the surface. Let's figure this out, right? Okay, number 4, clear out other emotions from your body and space. You heard me on that one. A beginning step is journaling. Number 5, define your space. Where is the line of where you're at and where other people are at? It's your personal space. And then, of course, protect that space. Be conscious about that, and also shield yourself from toxic people. Someone's being toxic, I always think of Captain Kirk in the Starship Enterprise. He throws up a shield when there's a threat coming from the outside. It's like he shields his spaceship. I can shield my body. Number 8, let people struggle when they don't want to learn. You gotta let them go. You gotta let them struggle. You can't save people who don't want to learn. Number 9, build a better relationship with time, money, and goals. I showed you that one. And then get your advice organized. You have ideas that you can share with people, and your ideas work because you're very in tune. But get them organized, because you're going to find you keep giving the same advice to people, even when it's different people. You're like, why do I keep saying the same thing? Because at a core level, it is the same thing. Okay, this next step, right? So let me just narrow it down for you. Journal every day. Define your relationships in writing: relationship with money, relationship with time, relationships with women, men, with food, your relationship with God. Read that story every day. It's going to help you improve the direction that you're going. And then step 3, intentionally use your gifts. But you know what? let's talk about this for a second. This is where you're going to keep making mistakes. And you got to call this out, right? We got to call this out because you got to know, where am I going to fall down? Where am I going to fall? So you don't sort out yourself in number one. Oh, that's supposed to say emotions in writing. It says raring. So number one is the journal piece, right? Number two, you're not conscious of whose emotions you soaked up. You can't tell the difference. Number three, savior mentality. Thinking that you have to save that person because you can feel them struggling. You feel like it's a personal assignment to save that person. It's not, but that's going to hurt you. Well, number four, you're going to try to assist others, but you don't really have a good roadmap of how to help them. Yeah, you can sense where their troubles are, but what techniques do you tell them? Is there an actual master roadmap you could walk them down? Because being an empath helps you understand the person. But now what kind of guidance do you give them? Number five, it's another common mistake is you're going to keep thinking this is a woo-woo thing about you. It's not. It's real. It's real and it's important. And it's time that you really start to exercise this. Number six, you probably are going to sense things in people and not say anything. You're not even going to do anything about it. Number seven, you're going to continue to think something's wrong with you, but actually now you've learned that it's a gift and you need to learn how to master it. Then number eight, believe that everyone thinks like you do. They don't. The common people, let me just say, out of 10 people, there maybe is going to be one empath. Out of 100 people, there's just a couple people that are really, truly empaths. We're a rare breed. We are. And that should tell us something. We're not outcasts. We're needed. And right now, more than ever in this world, because people can't figure themselves out and they can't tell the difference between what's good and bad. And we can help them. We can help them sort out their past. We can help them sort out their life. We can help them solve problems. We have a gift that can help people. But we got to stand up and start claiming it and start using it intentionally and get specific training of like, how do I master this gift so I can really make an impact? Okay, number 9, you have no boundaries. And when you don't have boundaries, you're going to feel unsafe and feel unprotected. So this is what the common mistakes are. So here's what you can do as an empath. I don't have time to go through all this, but you can help people sort out their thoughts and emotions so that they become less triggered. That's a big issue in the human race right now, is people being triggered. We see all the riots. We see people fighting on social media. People are so messy inside. They're taking it out on each other, and it's a mess. As an empath, we can straighten out the mess. We can. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but over 98% of people get stuck on one side of the wall in their life. They try to go for a goal, get to point B, and they literally get stuck. There's a small percentage of people who actually can accomplish goals. You want to know who plays a very important role in people getting their goals? An empath. It's tough to move forward when you have a messy past. It's tough. So we can help them sort out their life. And if you don't know how to do that, I can train you. I can teach you how to do this. And we can help people go from a squirrely life, where they're zipping all over the place, to actually an organized life. And maybe this is you. Maybe I need to be an empath in your life and help you, right? But you can do the same thing. You're going to be able to help people go from squirrely to be able to be more planned and be able to see clearly what to do next, because that's what every person wants to be able to do. They want to be able to have progress. But when they have this going on, they get burnt out. But as an empath, let me show you your potential. You can teach people like this. to be able to help them have a structure, an organized way to move forward. Seriously. Now here's the big one. This is my forte. This is the coolest part. And I just want to show this to you. Because you're an empath, you have a high level of understanding. Now, if you allowed me to train you more, if you allowed that to happen, I would teach you how this works, how to open up a person's mind, their eyes, their language, their emotions, and their actions to be able to help people really reach their potential. I mean, I do this all the time, training people who are empaths how to understand the workings on the inside of people so that you have a very structured way to help. So when you go to give advice, that's the part, is when you go to give advice and it's kind of messy or it's kind of inconsistent or kind of shallow, people question you. But when you can see how the whole plan works, the master plan of how to help people have progress, wow, do you have credibility? I mean, seriously, it's like people will listen to you because it's like, whoa, that's deep. And that's rich. I mean, that makes sense. This is what I'm aching to teach you. I'm serious. Like, to help you understand this part would be absolutely amazing. But just to know that there's more to this. And here's the cool part. If you decided to step into the world of being a coach or being a mentor, look for whatever organization you're going to learn from. Be sure that they have a rock solid path for you to follow and for the people you go to help, for them to follow. You see, progress is not a mystery. It's an equation. And to get your life in order, it's not some kind of abstract thing. It's literally certain steps. And as an empath, you can get into people's lives and help them see where they're glitched and where they're struggling, and you can help them. And then when you have a plan of where you're guiding them, your confidence level will be through the ceiling. So what am I doing here? Yeah, I'm nudging you to become a coach, a mentor, a leader, a successful entrepreneur. I'm nudging you in this way, going, come on, fellow empaths. Step it up. Let's remove the woo-woo title from us. Let's cause the world to see us as essential for them. Like they turn to us for advice because we're so in tune and we're so structured. We're so on it. We need to turn this from being a woo-woo thing in the world to being like, wow, not a woo-woo. We need to shorten that so it's a wow factor. Now, this part right here, I would love to teach you this part right here is the 4 different thinkers, like how do common people think and where do they struggle and how to help them get through it. So I'm putting these things in front of you so you know that I'm here for you, right? I want to support you in your continued education experience. Now, you will love this. Now, let me tell you where I'm pointing you here. I think it'd be a great step for you to step into a really nicely organized training about this empath skill. And I think it'd be amazing. And I know you would feel so much more confident if you understood how this all works and you could get organized in your efforts of using this gift. One of the parts that is very, very, very dear to me is how we can have literal step-by-step techniques we can teach people. You see, when you go to help someone, you're not just going to give advice. You could actually give them a technique, something to do to help them improve their lives, because you're able to come in, look at their life, assess their life, see where the deficiency is, and then based upon that deficiency, you're able to suggest a technique to help strengthen that efficiency. You see, I know and I believe every empath needs training on how to apply advice to the people you're going to communicate with. Because empaths, when they get involved with somebody else's life, they see all this stuff, but they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know. And so they just stay quiet. They just stay quiet when they recognize that they are an empath and they can help, but they just don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. And I remember being in that place, and I would just keep my mouth shut. But I would see all these people and I'd be like, oh my goodness, I can help, but I don't know how to help. And I get that. I totally get that. And because of my own personal struggle, trying to figure out how to exercise this gift being empath, I didn't realize it meant getting in order. And I can teach you the different techniques that you can give people in those specific areas of deficiencies. You see, at a core level, we as people, we're not that different. At a core level, we're all the same. And where you have a deficiency, there's a certain technique that needs to be applied to that area so a person can get better. That's what's cool is I'm not just an empath and I just tell people what I see wrong and I see what they can do different, and then I go on my way. I'm able to see what they're doing, and then I can show them how credible I am by giving them a specific technique for that particular deficiency, which means I'm an organized and intentional empath. And I call that mentoring. And I love to help people accelerate their accomplishments. Because when your mind is deficient in some way, it just doesn't function. It doesn't function as well. But I've gone down this road for the last 16 years. and I know what I lacked, and I know what I found that's important, and that's what I have for you. I can teach you how to be an organized and intentional empath that really gets high respect from people. No longer are you a woo-woo person. You're not a woo-woo person anymore. So what does this look like? It's a class. It's a training. Now, of course, we're not doing live events because of all the mixed messages about group gatherings. So this is a series of webinars that are in one weekend. It's coming up a couple weeks away. And this is where you want to go next to be able to learn and focus in on these skills. Now, I know there's a few of you who are on this webinar who have been to the art of mentoring before, but you are hearing me hone in on a particular point of view about being an empath and learning the art and skill of mentoring. If you've been to Art of Mentoring before, you're not going to want to miss the upgrades and the updates that happen to this Art of Mentoring that happens in September. I have realized at a higher level what my calling is as an individual, and that is to empower the empaths to be organized and intentional. We can create a higher level of respect from the people we work with so that they realize we can see their problems. We can see their deficiencies, and we know what to do to help them. No longer is it woo-woo. Right now, it's going to be a wow. It's going to be like people are like amazed because of what you can do, what you can see, and what you know what to suggest to them next. Like you get it. No longer are you confused. You're organized, and you understand this. That's the part that is so cool about this. And the people that I've worked with directly on about, working with their empath skills, and we harness this, they just come alive. They're not depressed. No, they become people who influence others for good and greatness. That's what they're doing. They have intention in their life. They wake up in the morning and they know what's going on. They don't just, wonder what's going on. They get it. I want to empower you. because I know you're looking for it. And I know you wish you could do something about it. And you literally are going to be a person who teaches people self-improvement, personal development, which all is under the category of self-mastery. Now imagine this, you decide to jump in on this, training course of being able to do this. What's going to happen is you are going to get your own training from me, right? All the way through the program, you're going to feel it, that I'm training you on your levels of being an empath. So when you teach other people how to improve, you personally get it. You personally experience it. It's awesome. But this only matters though, is if you're picking up on what I'm sharing with you. Because you could totally sweep this under the carpet and just be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. But maybe if you slow down just for a second and looked at the struggles you have in your life, you might notice that you are lacking the understanding of how this works. And if you are in business and you are trying to figure it out, you know how many times you've tried things and it's not working. I've crossed that 1 million, I've crossed that 2 million, I've crossed that 3 million in a year. I know what needs to change on the inside of you so that you can personally be taken care of and your family can be taken care of so you can serve people in a bigger way. Be more around the world in your influence. So if you've ever thought about being a life coach or being a mentor, this is the place to do this. I'm going to teach you the steps. I'm going to tell you other mistakes you need to watch out for. And then you get to learn the advanced techniques that you can share with people. And they're going to be very impressed. And then when you walk away from that situation, you know what you did. And you know you did the right thing. No more questioning yourself if you did the right thing or if you should say something. Because when you're organized, when you're organized and you can speak that way, your confidence is going to be through the ceiling. Now, this is not about starting a mentoring business, but if you want that, you're also going to receive your steps on how to build that. And then on the last bullet point there, how to create a 6-figure income. Yeah, that can happen naturally because you're so organized. So what if we did get you organized? What if I did teach you more about the problems that people face? I'm going to help you understand the core problems that people really are facing, not all this surface stuff, but on the inside, what's really going on, and then teach you the process that you're going to walk people through, and then how to apply those techniques, like this whole thing. I mean, but really, all this stuff really comes down to the fact of it only if you want to feel better about how your life is going and how it's functioning. And so the Art of Mentoring is the 3-day class. There's a couple different webinars each day. And with those 3 different webinars each day of those 3 days, I'll walk you through the understanding and the training so that you can take and use this empath ability and be intentional. We can pull you out of wherever you're at. Whatever level of skill you have, I can assist you in going to that next level because it's my own path. It's my own experience that I've gone through personally. It's not like I learned this from somebody else. This has been my own experience, and it doesn't have to take 16 years. No, I can save you a ton of time. But instead of putting it off and wondering about this, if you should do something with this gift, you should do something with it today. Really do something. Let's be intentional. Let's get organized and step into this. Okay, so how do you register? Well, you see on the screen there, you can go to 3ke.2/imentor. And you can go there to register. Go there, get signed up for this class, get super excited for September because it's time to get you organized and get you moving on your life mission. I don't know if you know it, but it's literally in your veins to be a life coach. It's in your veins to be a mentor. And instead of waiting, let's get on it. Now, I know you're going to think, wait a minute, how can I mentor the people? I can't even fix myself. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm not going to leave you high and dry on how that works. I'm not going to leave you there. But seriously, consider that this is the time. That being an empath is something real. It's not just a psychological thing. It's something real you've been blessed with. You've been blessed with it. And this blessing can bless other people. As you can see, other people have had incredible experiences. It's not just kind of information. It's full on right into the depths of understanding and training. No matter what level you're at, it's going to make sense to you. I've taught this class now for, wow, I think I'm on 6 to 7 years, 4 times a year. Like I know how to do this and know how to share with you so that you can advance your skills in how you give advice and how you intentionally can use your empath skills. So here's the page that you go to, the 3ke.2/imentor. But before you go there, go here. Let me show you. Let me see if this works. Okay, over on the side of your screen, I clicked a button, and I hope this works. On the side, there's what you see on the middle screen, but over there on the side, there is a button, and I hope this is working, because what I'm doing for you today is if you register right now, you can go to the Art of Mentoring class for $147. So $150 off because you have taken time to listen to this training, because you've invested time and you're here. I'm going to take off $150. So it's $147. Now, over on the right-hand side, I see if you can see this. Can you see this? I don't even know if I'm pushing the right button. I'm going to push another button. There we go. Can you see that? It's over on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side, there's a blue button. You want to click the blue button on the right-hand side because it changes the price to $147. $147. And if you look underneath the Art of Mentoring logo on the right-hand side, for registering today, right? Like registering right now, I'm going to invite you to an exclusive Empath Training 201. Now, the only people that get to go to Empath Training 201, which is going to happen on August 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. That's the next step. Excuse me. It's the next step beyond this step. It's the next step. And so the only people that go to Empath Training 201, because this is 101, and if you like where I'm going, you like where I'm heading with this, you can get that as a bonus gift for registering right now. You click the button, click here to register, and that now qualifies you to participate in the Empath Training 201, which will be a live webinar on Wednesday, August 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. Nobody else can get in there. It's just you and me, because you've gone through this and you chose into Art of Mentoring. So the Art of Mentoring class is all about you taking your empath abilities and becoming organized and intentional about how you serve people. And let's take it and create a business out of it. Let's get organized enough that it actually can benefit your life financially, so you don't have to wonder and worry what you're going to do as time moves forward, because there are people in the world who need help. And who's going to help them? They don't know where to turn. They don't know what to do. And if we don't step up, maybe God is working through us to reach them. I talk to empaths all the time, and it's like, you know what? maybe we're supposed to do the work. We can't sit around waiting for God to bless them. God always works through other people. And I feel the urgency to help people because there's a lot of struggle. And what really gets my heart is the kids who are scared because mom's scared. How many moms are out there that are scared? They're worried about their family. They're worried about their health. They're worried about their job, their husband's job, their job. They're worried about finances. They're having a lot of catastrophic thinking and they can't think of what to do. We can show up and help them strengthen their mind. Where they're deficient, we can empower them. But we got to realize we're part of the equation. We're part of the solution. So you can sidestep this and think it's somebody else's responsibility to help serve people. But if you found that you have some empath tendencies about you, step it up. Let's step it up and let's be able to make a difference. Let's make a difference in other people's lives. And so you can live your purpose, and your purpose is to serve people. And if you're not living your purpose in serving people, I know what's going on. You're slipping into depression. You're feeling like something's missing in your life. And I get it. You're overwhelmed with emotions. You're overwhelmed with all the stuff in the world. You're super sensitive. I get it, but you need help. You need training so that this gift can serve you and can serve others. And come on, let's think about the kids. Who's going to reach those kids? Well, we teach the parents, and the parents become better examples. Or we start holding kid classes on webinars. Let's help the kids directly. I'll teach you how to do this. I'll teach you how to teach them. Okay, here I go. Here comes the emotion. Can you really sit around and watch what's going on in the world and hope things get better? Come on. You and I are being called to step it up and to take the gifts that God has given us and do something with them. So allow me to train you. Commit to stepping on this path. And let's do something about this. When you're sitting there wondering, well, what can I do? What can I do? Click the registration button on the right-hand side of your screen and register for Art of Mentoring so you can get specific training and get your mind organized, become more intentional, and understand this empath gift at another level. Because you register right now, you're going to be invited to that exclusive training. Okay, I got a note. Somebody asked a question. If you're already registered for the Art of Mentoring, that's coming up, if you're already registered and you're like, Kirk, I'm already registered for that class. Can I get in on the Empath Training 201? Yeah, you need to email my office and say, hey, I'm already registered. I want access to that training. Because I'll take it to another level. I'll show you the next level of diagrams to open up your mind how this works. So if you're already registered for Art of Mentoring, boom, you're in. Email my office at support@team3ke.com and tell them, hey, I'm in. I want to be part of that on August 26th for that next 2-hour training. So that's a bonus for registering for Art of Mentoring. Okay, my work here is done. I'm glad I could be here to share with you. Go there and register while we have the $150 off, and seriously consider, let's consider that you have a mission and you have a purpose. That's why you feel empty and unfulfilled. That's why you get to the end of the day and you still feel lost. You're not engaged in your life purpose. Your life purpose is to use your empath abilities and teach and train people how to improve their lives. And I'm going to teach you what to teach them because I already know it works. I've been mentoring for 16 plus years. So this next level Empath Training 201, the only way you can get in there is if you're registered for this next Art of Mentoring. And I want to see you there. I want to see your name on my screen. I want to see you there because now I know you're committed and you're in on this, right? Right? Okay. So I get it. You're going to say, oh, but I don't have money. Oh, come on. You can find resources to make this happen. Don't be afraid of discovering yourself. Like you've already been afraid for how many years? For how long have you done this? How long have you hid? How long have you been hiding? Do we need to add that up? Right? Well, today starts the day that you're going to stop hiding. You're not going to feel like a weirdo anymore. You're going to be fully and highly respected as a well-organized mentor. Cool, huh? Okay, click the registration button, get registered, go there, get it for $147. I'm looking forward to that class on August 26th. And if you have questions, about the class or is there another one? There's not another one. There's not another one on the calendar. It's this class. So for September 17th through the 19th. So there's not another class. If you know somebody who would really love to do this because you're like, wow, I didn't know that was even possible. What you can do is because they're not on this webinar. So it's like, how do we get them registered, right? So you email the office and tell them you have another person. Maybe it's somebody on your team. Maybe it's another mentor that they want to upgrade their skills. Maybe you got a leader on your team that's struggling. Maybe you know somebody who has their own business and they're struggling and you're like, man, this could really help them. Send them to the link 3ke.2/iMentor. Just send them that link. Text it to them right now. You got to text it to them right now. Just type that in your phone. Send that to the friend, the family member, that person on your team that you know that they could be doing better, but they just don't get it. And if you know somebody who has empath abilities and they're super struggling and they're not here, type that link 3ke.2/iMentor in your phone and text it to them and tell them, click this, register, so that they can get on that empath training on August 26th and get that direct training at Art of Mentoring. So right now, seriously, anyone you know that's coming to your mind that you feel inspired to send this to, we need to gather the empaths. We need to gather all of us together and be able to really focus in on this because the training is in September and you know what weird stuff is going on in the world. Let's don't put this off anymore. We're running out of time to get ourselves organized so that we can be a force to be reckoned with because we can help and serve and train. We're no longer going to be a weak type of people who are just sensitive. No more just being sensitive. We're going to be deliberate and intentional in our support. Deliberate and intentional. Now, to be in Art of Mentoring, right? To be in Art of Mentoring, being a teenager, this class is broadcast to people's homes. So let's say you have a friend who has a teenager who shows that they have empath abilities, like they're super quiet, they're very sensitive, but they're super, super in tune, but they just don't know how to manage it. Send that link 3ke.2/iMentor to that friend of yours who has the teenager. The content in Art of Mentoring is consumable and digestible by any level of teenager. So because we're not in live events, I don't have to limit it to, like 18 years old. You can have that adult sign up in that home so that their teenager can watch. I can help your teen who shows empath abilities. They don't know what to do. There are so many teenagers who don't know that they have this gift, and they're down on themselves a lot, and they're just emotionally racked, and they can sense and feel people, and they have things happening to them where they actually can pick up on people's thoughts, and their dreams are weird. Their dreams are weird, and they don't know what to do with it, and they don't know what to do with all this information. They don't know where it's coming from. They need training on how to manage the gift. And I would have to say, that is the most tender part of my heart, is to imagine that teenager being down on themselves and being depressed and confused because their parents don't know how to teach them. Their parents don't know what to say. They ask around and nobody can help them. Nobody knows what to do for them. I do. I see it in the teens that they don't understand it's a gift. It's a gift. Now, I'm going to take this one little level extra. I don't know if you believe in the devil or not. Like, not believe in the devil, but believe that there is a devil. Well, the devil is trying to cause hell on the planet right now. He's trying to cause hell. And as he's trying to cause hell on the planet, he is tormenting the gifted people. Because he's got to get the gifted people to feel worthless. Makes sense. The devil would torment the gifted people because if they feel worthless, they won't use their gifts to help. God has blessed people with gifts and talents that need to come forward and come to the surface to be used and applied to help us as people. So if you understand that there's a devil in the world, something to consider is we get to strengthen our side. We get to reach out to our friends, our family, the people that are on your team, the people that you know they've got to wake up to this. They have tendencies of being an empath. Let's do this. Let's get them trained. Because I don't want to stand on the front lines by myself. Let's cause a movement, right? A rising up of the gifts. And to be able to shake off the devil's tormenting that we're worthless. It's like, no, we're not worthless. We're an answer to people's prayers because God's going to work through us. Now, I know I'm taking this to a spiritual level, but you can handle it. You can handle it for a moment. Just handle it for a moment. Seriously, people are praying and God's like, okay, I gave people the gifts. Okay, come on, people, do the work, do the work. God's already saving us. It's just us as people, we're the ones slowing down the process. We're the ones slowing it down. And I don't want to be the one slowing it down. That's why I'm talking to you today. Help you so you're not slowing it down. God's blessed you with a gift to serve people. Let's do something with it. And the byproduct of that is it's going to take care of your family. If you allow me to train you on how to do this, your confidence will go up. And we know we can go to bed tonight feeling good because we did good work. We did intentional work. We did intentional work. And that's being an empath with a plan. Cool, huh? Well, if you haven't clicked the button yet to register, let's get after this. Click that. Let's register. Again, if you've already registered for the Art of Mentoring class, you will not be invited to the exclusive Empath Training 201 on August 26th unless you email the office and they confirm that you are registered for the Art of Mentoring. And then they will put your name on the list so that you can be invited to that training. It'll be next level. So it's a bonus. I want to spend some more time with you. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. I'm here to train you because I know I'm an empath and it's a gift from God. And I'm going to help as many people on this planet as possible with all of my life and with all of my energy of heart to help the people. So let's teach the people to impact and influence the children, because that's the rising generation. And wow, do they need help. Super cool. Okay. Thanks for being here. You're super awesome. And thank you for everything, for your attention and your interest, and for following your prompting to be part of this. 3ke.2/imentor. Send it to your friends right now. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you.